In a town 58,000 strong, there moved a foreigner. He was a Jewish man from the ocean. Yet, he traveled to a land with no water to find a new life. He arrived upon plains so big, you could only call it the middle of nowhere. Now, live from a land so vast, this is his cast.
Oh, the humanity!
Cowboys, cowgirls, studs, mares, and farmers of all ages. This is the Middle of Nowhere cast with your host, Robby.
When I do a formal intro with people, it's weird because I feel like it puts some sort of unrealistic pressure on this situation. I don't know. We were just talking before I hit the record button. So.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. Okay, so we're here.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm here.
Yeah, you're here. Representative Larry Kraft of Minneapolis is your name.
St. Louis Park.
St. Louis Park, sorry. Yes, of St. Louis Park.
Mm-hmm.
You are the second person I've talked to in Minneapolis today. I felt the need to come out here, as I'm just repeating now what we already talked about. But tell me a little bit about what's been going on from someone who lives right at the epicenter of everything.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, it feels like we're under siege. I mean, this morning I was talking to the superintendent of the school district in St. Louis Park, ICE agents around an elementary school.
Ooh.
And the teachers can't open the blinds because they don't want to freak the kids out.
Whoa.
And then I was just on a call, doing some housing work, and someone I was on the call with, a senator, had to leave because her superintendent was calling about stuff going on at a high school.
Wow.
I mean, I saw last week, I was at one situation where ICE was an interaction with probably 20, 30 ICE agents, and all of a sudden I realized there's pepper spray kind of somewhere that kind of drifted over me.
Ooh. What does that feel like?
It's first, having never had that happen before.
Yeah.
First, it's like, well, what's going on? Like, I'm having trouble, like, coughing. My eyes are starting to tear, and then back I realize, holy crap, someone sprayed pepper spray or something around here. I didn't really see why. It didn't appear that folks were unruly or anything. But you watch these ICE agents carrying around these pepper spray bottles. Like almost sometimes it feels like they're looking for places to spray them. Another colleague of mine that was supposed to be on this call is doing a press conference now about how ICE agents have brutalized a bunch of bystanders. A friend of mine 2 days ago, you may see it, there's a video out there, they were following behind an ICE agent car. They stopped, the ICE agent sprayed pepper spray into the vent of the car.
Oh.
And then they smashed the car window, dragged these two people out of the car, brought them in, held them for 8 to 9 hours, never charged them with anything. These are bystanders. They weren't obstructing or anything like that. So there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on here. And, people say, oh, is it real? It's real. And I got to tell you, I don't know how this doesn't seem like this should be happening in this country.
Yeah, what are you doing to stop it? Like, what steps are you taking? You're very vocal on your Instagram page, and you're always saying, like, we should be doing this, or like, I want to see this, but you're obviously in a position of power. Not many people hold as much power as you do. So what are you actually doing?
Yeah, well, there's a number of things. One is I helped get our rapid response group organized.
What is that?
So we use a chat thing to where if there's an ICE sighting, then a lot of people can show up there quickly to film and just to make sure that there's visibility to what they're actually doing. Mm-hmm. We're setting up patrols at key places around St. Louis Park. There's folks that are coordinating, trying to do, deliver food or, stop at bus stops to make sure, because there's a lot of concern about parents at bus stops being snatched. So it's really just having visibility and rapid response to protect our neighbors, right? And so, that's the one side of it. And I said I was talking to the school district this morning about, hey, can we make sure to get people over to one of our elementary schools so that parents can drop their kids off? And what's happening is some parents aren't, like they're getting freaked out, and it's impacting the full school district. and kids aren't going to be learning as well. So that's
How could you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
You can't.
well,
Yeah.
so you're taking a more. It sounds like you're leading from like the community organization standpoint and
Right.
everything.
Yeah. So there's a grassroots aspect to it, and it has been so heartening to see how this community and all communities are stepping up. And I'll say, I saw something that Heather Cox Richardson put on Instagram. I think it was yesterday, and saying, "Look, something really big is happening." In
Who's that
Minnesota."
for people that don't know?
Oh, she's. How do you describe her?
Admittedly, for people who don't know, includes me because I'm not very familiar.
Well, she's an author, and she's posting every day about and a really intelligent thinker on like what's going on right now.
Oh, okay.
And historical context.
So not to say talking head, but she's like a local
Not
MSP
local.
area.
She's a national. She's
Oh,
national.
oh, she's okay.
She's an author.
Okay.
She's written a bunch of books about the situation we're in, about the evolution of politics and the Republican Party. So she's got a really good historical context. And she did a post yesterday talking about how there's something really big happening in Minnesota, because we have the federal government coming in, and really it seems to be all about fear and intimidation, but we're stepping up and we're resisting, right? We're observing, we're documenting, we're saying no, we don't want ICE here, and that's really important. They sent 2,000. Now more.
Yeah, they
agents,
just saw
right?
that
Maybe
an
more.
extra 1,000 were coming.
Right, and for context, that's more than the combined police departments of Minneapolis and St. Paul together, right? So that they now have a huge police force here.
Where do they all stay?
Yeah, at various hotels around the area. And that's one of the things that happens is when people find out where they're staying, they'll often go there and make noise all night.
What do you say to the other side that is like, we have to respect law and order, we have to let them do their jobs, like, of course all this shit's going down. So, can I curse? I'm sorry. I won't.
It's your podcast.
Okay, well, I don't know. I'm in your house, so I don't. Thank you for having me in your house, by the way.
If you want to curse,
But,
it's fine.
okay,
I've heard, I've got a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old.
Okay, so you've heard. I'm an East Coaster, so I have a foul mouth
yeah.
sometimes. It just I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
But what do you say to the people that are like, of course there's gonna be shit when people are doing all this antagonistic stuff. They call it antagonistic, like.
Well, look, I want to complete my other thought.
Oh,
and
sure.
No, that's okay. And then I'll address that.
Okay.
So the thing is, in my community of 50,000 people, in the matter of a few weeks, we had almost 1,000 people sign up for rapid response.
Wow.
So like we outnumber. We are larger. Like we care, right? And so I just want to. That's the hopeful side of this, is that it's pulling communities together to stand up. Now, what I would say to folks that are on the other side, regardless of what you think about our immigration policies, what ICE is doing is really bad police work. It's really bad. It gives a bad name to law enforcement.
Yeah.
You know, and you can look at the horrific killing that happened, and someone will say, well, she was.
I got into that this morning with one of your colleagues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But any decent police, public safety person would tell you, in a situation like that, you never put yourself anywhere near the front of the vehicle. You just don't do that. And she was friendly, right? She was turning away. It would have been very easy for that agent to step out of the way. In fact, he didn't actually get hit. And I think the really damning thing is there were 3 shots fired. The first one was, you can see, was on the
front windshield.
but it was on the very side of the windshield.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
The next 2, and you watch in the video, was from the side. He's walking alongside of the car, firing at her through the side window. What is that other than, it's hard to look at that and see anything but murder.
Do you have, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Do you have, sorry, I'm going to be all over the place because
Right,
I feel like that you're the best person that I've spoken to about any of this. Do you have any info on the ICE agent who did that? Like, do we know anything? Do we know his name? Do we know anything about him?
Apparently his name is Jonathan Ross.
Okay.
My understanding is he's no longer in Minnesota.
Probably for the best.
I also understand that he had some incident sometime in the past year where he was dragged by a vehicle. So there may be some things in his state of mind.
Was he a new ICE agent?
I don't believe so.
Oh, okay. So he is a trained individual.
Yeah. But what we're finding in interacting with these folks is they're not necessarily well trained. They don't have strong procedures that they're following, and that they're often interacting in a way that inflames situations, right? And they feel like it's like that they have their fear, they're intimidating, they have the power. They don't. It's almost dehumanized. Like they're drilled into them is that what the folks they're going after are not human.
Mm-hmm. Which is, we're all human. I haven't heard yet though that he had a prior incident. That's interesting information, because it makes me empathize with him a little bit more, I think, because I can understand being in a pressure cooker and then the same thing happens and he thinks, oh shit, my life is in danger. I haven't considered that yet. I still don't think it excuses it at all, but
yeah,
if we're trying to, my big push is like, I'm trying to figure out how we can get everybody to come together, and like, this shouldn't be a Democrat issue or a Republican issue. Like, the way, from where I'm sitting, I just watched the federal government kill a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
And I don't think, ICE is not a partisan organization. They're the government. The government's killing me, essentially, is what it felt like.
Killing you, terrifying our
everybody.
Students,
yeah.
And that's what's, I said, even if you agree with the immigration side, what's happening here is we're being occupied. I mean, fear and intimidation does not lead to good police work, does not lead to good law enforcement.
Yeah.
Because you just, how do you, and now we've got the federal government saying Minnesota can't be involved in the investigation.
That makes no sense to me.
And I got to tell you, what had started happening was the career prosecutors, the career folks at the FBI and at our Bureau of Criminal Apprehension started working together like they normally would, started sharing information to get to the best possible outcome. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't know what the result of this is going to be.
Yeah.
Right? But they need to do that. And then from on high, after half a day of work, came down and said, nope, cut the Minnesota folks out. You may not work with them. And I don't know. And at the same time, you've got the president, you've got the head of the Department of Homeland Security making incredibly prejudging statements about what happened. So how are we going to feel that this kind of investigation is going to be at all fair?
What do you do? Do you feel helpless at all to stop anything? I mean, like, you guys aren't more powerful than the federal government. You should be sovereign as a state. How do you feel about all this?
Well, look, we're at all levels of government, I think, going to try to do whatever we can. I mean, the Attorney General filed a lawsuit that I think is going to get heard this weekend, that basically asking for an injunction on the stuff that ICE is doing right now. So I'm hopeful on that. We're not in legislative session right now. We're a part-time legislature, so we go back into session on February 17th. We will certainly be proposing legal policy things to address this stuff.
Can you talk about what some of the stuff that you guys have cooking up are?
Well, the challenge that we have is in Minnesota, our Senate, we have a one-seat Democratic majority, and the House, we're tied.
Yes.
And so to get anything done, we need substantial Republican support. You don't just need one, you actually need substantial, because the way things work, to get things onto the floor, it has to go through a rules committee, you have to actually let leadership controls. So we need to get substantial Republican support. So can we get any of them to stand up to what seems to me very often illegal actions of the federal government? Are they going to just justify it in some way, or be concerned about their political futures and not going to take a stand against this? I don't know. Because
it seems like it's in everybody's self-interest to stop what's going on. Let's say I am the hardest line Republican guy that there is, and there might be. I don't know. That's the fun part about meeting a stranger.
You might be that, you're saying?
Yeah, I might be. Who knows?
All right.
I don't know. I'm not going to play on my hand. I don't know. I've never stated what I am on camera because it doesn't matter. But let's just say I am, and let's say I want super strong borders. I want no immigrants crossing illegally. I want everybody that should be out. Like, in what possible way? Like you said, I talked to another state representative from Pennsylvania. What he said, how is this the best way to do it? Like, it's like taking what in theory should be a good thing, right? If there's people here who shouldn't be here and they're committing crimes, get them out. I agree. Let's do that. But if you've lost the trust of the people, if you're shit disturbing the citizens, if you're shit disturbing the people that are here that shouldn't be, that are just tax paying citizens trying to get a green card or something, like.
Well, let me throw another thing at you. Like, this is impacting business, right? Business is dropping because people are scared to go out.
And it's
right?
Republicans' favorite thing is the
education.
economy and business
Yeah.
and taxes and all that. Like, it just, how can you not get bipartisan support for this?
I wish. How can you not? I mean, people. I don't know. I mean, I hate to put.
It just seems so like this is not a political thing.
I would love to see us. Let's just pause for a few weeks. Talk about it. Let's, because what's happening
Everyone,
now.
they'll still be here.
What's happening now is bad for everyone, and I think it's bad for the ICE agents too. I mean, because folks are out there documenting what's happening and making noise when they're doing things. It can't be fun for them either.
No, if I'm in a hotel and horns are honking all night, I'm probably probably not having a good time.
Yeah.
And it's not efficient policing. Like
No.
the government only gets its power from the consent of the people to be governed, and it's the same thing. I feel like in policing, guns will only take you so far, and they can take lives and they can kill people, but like, I don't know. I don't know.
And so you asked, like, what's it going to take? I don't. The part of the challenge is when you have the president who has come out so strong, kind of saying something that doesn't match what our eyes see, and the Department of Homeland Security saying crazy stuff too. Can Republicans stand up without getting attacked? Can they try to stand up for what really is happening
Just
without getting
their
attacked?
constituents.
Yeah, without getting attacked by the president. I don't know. And are they willing to do that?
Are local Republicans in the Twin Cities area, are they getting sick of the Trump administration? Trump supporters, have they had enough yet? Or are they still living here, seeing what's going on and thinking that this is all cool and okay?
Yeah, I don't know. I hate to say, here's what, my Republican colleagues are thinking. I do think that there's more and more Republicans, moderate Republicans, that are saying, wait a minute, what's going on here?
That's what I'm in Wyoming, is Republican as it gets. And that's what we're seeing back there, is I'm seeing more and more people be like, oh, actually, he's not doing what he said he was going to do.
Right. Especially out in greater Minnesota, some of the farmers, the farmers have been really impacted by the tariffs.
Yeah, us too, with like the beef prices and like it pissed the ranchers off, really. I was doing work with one guy who owned a wind farm, and then Trump started bashing on wind farms, and he was like, what the hell, man? Like, I voted for you because you said you were gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, sorry, I cut you off. You were going over what you guys are gonna be doing when the session starts.
Oh, yeah. So there's a number of legislation steps we're looking at, and there is some challenge because, there is a supremacy clause in the Constitution, so the federal government has some, and there's limited things that we can do. But, I don't want to reveal everything, but there's a host of things that we're looking at. We're in a lot of conversation with folks in other states that have done things where they maybe have Democratic trifectas. They've been able to do things. So if you look at other places that have passed some things, you can assume that we're trying to do stuff like that. But things like, face coverings. Why does law enforcement have face coverings?
Yeah. Well, I was just outside walking my dog before this, and it's cold. So
yeah, well, okay,
I get that.
Yeah, but that's not
why they're doing that. Yeah.
Just think about that. What that does is number one, it's intimidating.
It's
scary, but also it lets them have another layer of removal from the people they're supposed to be policing.
It does not seem like equal treatment under the law.
No.
Yeah. And then also, I know body cams is another thing that we're pushing for. I thought that was like in 2025. I thought that was a given. But these guys don't have body cams on?
That I don't know, but they're subject to different laws than our local folks. Like all of our police in St. Louis Park have body cams. I think all the ones in Minneapolis and St. Paul have body cams.
But that's because the state level said that they have to do that. Federal doesn't. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I see.
But you look at some of the statements from the various police organizations, Chief O'Hara in Minneapolis, and he's like, this has given us a bad. Minneapolis has been working so hard on trying to repair relationships after George Floyd was murdered, right, by a police officer. This doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. And I wonder if that's almost why it's going here, because they knew that it would be fireworks if they targeted you guys, because you have the soft spot for it.
I don't know. I think this is about Trump's personal issues with walls. and maybe Somalis because of Rep Omar. I don't know. I mean, that's really why this kind of thing has been happening in Democrat-run states.
Yeah.
And he's got a big feud with Walz.
What do you think, how much do you think the fraud that Minnesota has been dealing with at the state level has to do with what the ICE is doing now? Do you think it's connected or a retribution? Like, I see, it's easier for Trump to say, don't trust those Minnesota guys, they're all corrupt, because you guys kind of are a little bit. And
oh, wait a minute.
Sorry, okay, defend yourself.
You say we're corrupt. I think there's been no evidence of corruption. Right.
Maybe I used the wrong word.
And I
I'm
just
sorry.
want to be clear because
please.
What has happened is absolutely inexcusable. And it's fraud. It's private parties that have been defrauding the government and our taxpayers. And it's absolutely wrong. But corruption, right, meaning that government officials are involved in receiving money or things like that.
Oh, you're right. So you're right. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
If you want to talk corruption, let's talk about the Trump administration corruption.
Fair.
Okay. But that's not.
I should have said fraud. I should have said fraud.
Yeah.
But what my point, the point I was trying to get at is, like, when it's easier for somebody to say the fraudsters all live in Minnesota, and they can't be trusted, so we're not going to include them in an investigation. Like, look at how these people do business. Like, that's why we need to look at the lawlessness. Like, it seems like it helps their argument in a little bit of a way. And I personally disagree with all of it, but it's like when I'm looking at, like, it's like, oh, damn, like, at what point do you kind of have to give them that one? Like,
you have to give them one that says they're justified.
Like, it's not doing you good. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
That the fraud isn't doing us any favor. Absolutely not.
It's not doing you any favor.
No, and it's horrible that it's happened. It shouldn't have happened. We need to address it.
Mm-hmm.
How long? It should have been sooner, but yeah, absolutely all of that stuff, and it's being used as an excuse to increase, pressure and fear and intimidation on my community.
How?
And it's not. The ICE folks right now are not doing anything on fraud. They're going after people. They're racially profiling people that don't look white.
Yeah.
And in parking lots, at schools. I mean, and saying, show me your citizenship papers. Or prove you're a citizen. Give me a break.
Yeah. And I guess I'm trying to figure out how the two are related, if at all. And what you're saying is they're kind of separate issues.
I can see how...
Because that's just one thing that I hear the right saying is that, like, one is because of the other and vice versa.
Well, I would say why? Why does the fact that there has been fraud in government programs, right? And we need to go ferret that out and hold those people accountable. Mm-hmm. How does that have to do with, immigration status? I mean,
when you say it like that, yeah, it makes sense.
I mean,
I told you this was going to happen. That's a good point. I don't really see how. What is it like to be dealing with both things at the same time? Because either one of these issues seems like it'd be a full-time job.
Mm. Well, I would say, and like, I'm working on housing issues. I got involved with politics to do stuff about climate change. I'm working on climate bills, right? I'm working on things that are going to. I'm working on a bill for folks that egregiously speed so that we put in place a process so that we save some lives from that. So, like, I'm working on these things, and it's surreal at the same time to be going on patrols and trying to protect my community from the ravages of ICE. The fraud thing, even I wish we didn't have it, but we have to deal with it, and we are.
Mm-hmm. How long did you guys know about that before it became national news? Because I only found out about it recently. Has that been a thing here for a while?
Well, there's, when I first got in the legislature, it was 2023, there was something called the Feeding Our Future.
Yes.
Right? And that's the first big thing that happened.
That's
that came out of the COVID era time when the government was rushing out a bunch of money to get to people. And the bias was, let's get money to folks because they're hurting.
Yeah.
Right? And what happened is a network of groups, and the ringleader ever was a white woman.
Yes.
Right.
Not that that matters.
Not that matters.
Yes.
But created a network where there was a bunch of different organizations that were supposedly feeding kids, but they were pocketing the money instead. They were falsifying records.
Yeah, saying we're feeding these people. Here, give us the money for that.
And that was to the tune of 250-ish million. I mean, it was horrific that this happened.
Oh yeah.
So that was uncovered.
Bad news
That was uncovered, and so that was since COVID, and I forget the exact timing of when that was coming out. Mm-hmm. So certainly, that level of visibility has been the past few years. You could point to, if you look at our legislative auditor, you could point to warning signs in the past. Say, hey, we're concerned about this process. We're concerned about this being open to fraud. So, it's not that there are not some legitimate questions. Right?
Are you on board working with Republicans to get this squared away in February when you guys go back to session? Sure, we'll work with you on the fraud. Can you work with us on the immigration stuff, please? Or is it not quite that simple?
Well, I'm on board to work on realistic solutions with anyone on any issue, fraud included. Right?
Sick.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
that's good to hear. I've talked to certain politicians before that have said if they're a Democrat, they say if it's a Republican thing, I'm not going for it. I don't care.
No, I can't. Look, I don't get to choose who I work with. The voters choose it, right? And there's some folks that I vehemently disagree with on some things.
Yeah.
Most of them I like, some I don't, but so what? If there is an issue, on speeding or DWI or some other things that we have an agreement on, or that we see things in a similar fashion, then I'll work with them to get legislation done that I think improves the lives of constituents. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So the issue that we have on fraud here is that it is a big political campaign issue, and so you have, the question I have is are folks really interested in solving it, right? Getting to root cause and solve it, or are they interested in using it as a political issue in the campaign? And this year it's going to be pretty hard because it's a campaign season. But we'll see. I think there are areas that we may be able to work together on.
Can you tell me, because I know nothing about it, there's been some bad press concerning Bobby Joe Champion, who's a senator in Minnesota, and people have accused him of being corrupt. Can you tell me what's going on? For listeners of the podcast that haven't heard, what I read is that one of his friends got a huge grant or something, and maybe it was legitimate, but people are questioning if that would have happened if they weren't friends.
Yeah.
Can you just fill me in? Because I'm curious.
My knowledge maybe goes a little bit more than yours, but not that much. But I think there were some concerns over that he was advocating for a grant, for an appropriation to a organization that was run by a friend, or maybe it was run by someone and he did some work for them.
Yeah,
and that was it. And I think the ethics committee may have looked at it. I don't know, what else, but I think that's the issue you're talking about.
That is the issue, yeah.
Yeah. And look, I don't know enough about it to
that
other than I would say, if you're, excuse me, are we good?
Yeah, we're good. I have a recurring nightmare that I forget to hit record, but I didn't, and I do that every single time. But
yeah. So I think he's needed to address that. I think for me in government, I think we want as much transparency as possible.
That's all we're saying.
Yeah.
Do you think it's that bad of a thing if somebody's like, yeah, he's my friend, but I know him, and that's why I'm giving him the money because I know he's going to do good work with it?
Not necessarily. You just need to be really open and transparent about it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
that is kind of how the whole world works. Like people who know people, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
And who knows you too. So I get that.
That can be helpful from a character reference or things like that. But there always should be, transparency and a good evaluation process. I don't think it should just be, hey, let's give these people money because I know them. They need to be, solving a need. And I think my understanding of this process with Senator Champion was it was a clear need, So.
Did the ethics committee, once they look at it, did they give it the green light, or did they say, nah, not this one?
I don't think that he was sanctioned or anything like that. So I don't remember exactly what happened, but he didn't get any sanction from the ethics committee.
All right, well, let's take a break from the immigration stuff because it's kind of heavy. We can come back to it at the end for everybody, so you should keep listening. But what else is going on in Minnesota? Like, outside of all of this, you guys have an entire state to run, like you said.
Yeah.
Like, climate change, what's going on? What are you guys doing?
Yeah. Well, that's why I got into politics. I spent 25 years in the tech industry and then left that world 12 years ago because I have kids, 21 and 18, and putting away money for college for them, and just became terrified about the impact that climate would have on their future. So I made a career shift, ran a nonprofit for 5 years, and then got into politics as a climate candidate.
Hey.
First on city council and now in the state government. So where we're at in Minnesota, we passed this great law in 2023 requiring our electricity grid to get to be 100% carbon free by 2040, and we're on track.
What does that mean?
That means that that the generation of electricity won't be causing any impact on climate change by 2040. It goes down from now to then.
Oh, okay.
So
how do you do
climate change is
that?
Greenhouse gas emissions.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
And things like coal and natural gas generate carbon dioxide, greenhouse gas emissions. And so as you transition your electricity grid to use more wind and solar, even nuclear, hydro, non-carbon dioxide generating things, it becomes cleaner. It doesn't pollute from a climate change perspective.
Is coal and natural gas still that huge of an issue given how much better they've gotten at managing those pollutants?
Yes. Yeah. What you're talking about there is they've gotten somewhat better at some of the particulate emissions, but not entirely. Coal is a huge problem still. They've gotten somewhat better, but not on the carbon dioxide side, not on the thing that causes climate change. Coal is the worst, and natural gas is better than coal, but still generates a lot of greenhouse gas emissions. So what we need to do is we need to transition off of those fuels.
How do we do that? Like, because coal works, and it works really well.
Coal's very expensive. Coal causes a lot of pollution, and not just
ignoring all that
pollution.
stuff.
Coal kills people, right? A lot of people die from air pollution, asthma that come from coal. So what coal isn't cheap anymore. It's very expensive.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because you have to dig it up, right? And once you put in a windmill or wind turbine or solar, then your fuel is free. You don't have to dig anything else up.
What about how I'm just trying to figure this out for myself. Because when the sun goes down and the wind stops, like how are you guys going to be completely renewable on a state level? Like how do you do that?
Yeah. So what you're talking about there, and by the way, it's not a surprise that the sun goes down and sometimes the wind doesn't blow.
Of course, yes. Cavemen knew this.
Oh my gosh.
No, and people are always like, "Have you ever considered?" It's like, yes, I have. Of
course. Right. So what you need is you need to be able to have some storage for that, right? And so what you're seeing now is batteries dropping tremendously in price, ways of storing that electricity. And there's a number of ways you can deal with it. You can have batteries to store it, or you can have really good transmission lines, right, to be able to shift electricity across states, across the country, because if the sun and the wind isn't shining here, if the wind isn't blowing here, it's likely to be doing something over there, right?
Okay.
So there's lots of different ways you can deal with this. So most folks that have looked at it said, you know what, with sun and wind and batteries, you can probably get to 90-ish% of the grid decarbonized, and you need 10% other stuff. It's called firm dispatchable. So it just means that when you need it, it's always there. Okay?
Yeah.
Coal, or you're talking about coal, is something often referred to as baseload, because coal, once you start up a coal plant, it's not easy to turn it down, right? It tends to be on and running, right? And but what you need is, you don't want to use, when you have right now coal and you have sun and wind, you want to use the sun and the wind because the cost of using it at any point in time is zero if you can use it, right? You've already fixed it. And coal, you need to have more fuel cost. So you're always going to use your sun and your wind first. the way our grid's going to look in the future. You use your sun and your wind first, and when it's not available or when there's not storage, you need something that can be firm and dispatchable.
Yeah.
And so possibilities for that are nuclear. Possibilities for that are that are carbon free are also things like geothermal, deep geothermal.
Ooh,
right,
okay.
Which is really cool. Possibilities for that are just better transmission lines across the country so you can pull in electricity that's available in other parts of the country. Another part could be a natural gas peaker plant that's only used from time to time with carbon capture, where you capture the carbon dioxide and store it in the earth. All these solutions are kind of expensive, but that's the way we get to a fully decarbonized grid. They're expensive now, but we have to get to there in 2040.
Yeah, that's an argument I'm very sympathetic to, because people are always like, it costs too much, but cars costed a lot in the 1930s, so like, you know what I mean? Of course it would.
Yeah.
But is there enough land to do all that stuff? Like,
oh yeah, I forget the data, but the amount of energy that we get from the sun, and both solar and wind come from the sun, right? Because the wind comes because of imbalances in heat in different parts of the world. The amount of energy we get from the sun is mind-boggling on a daily basis, and the amount of land we would need to capture that is small compared to what we have. So there may be individual issues of having big solar farms in one place and things like that. I don't want to discount that there are some concerns of having so much land in one place dedicated to this, but in terms of a scale, we have beyond. And then if you think about it, what about putting solar on overall parking lots or on roofs or on big buildings?
What about batteries?
The other thing on solar is really exciting thing called agrivoltaics, right? Where you raise the solar panels up a little bit higher than you normally would, and then underneath them you grow stuff, or you graze cattle under there. And what they're finding is that, particularly with cattle grazing, as our climate heats up and there's more and more sun, like the cattle love this because they have place to get shade.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of things that are really exciting.
How do we store it all? Because like my batteries are super expensive. I just bought an RV and like it's like almost $1,000 if I wanted to get like the batteries I actually wanted. And then I think like, okay, that's for me in an RV off grid. Minneapolis, oh my God, how big of a battery? Does that even exist?
Yes, and what's exciting about solar, wind, and battery technology is they're on technology learning curves, right? So what that is the more you do them, the more you learn about how to produce them more cost effectively, and they get cheaper and cheaper, right? Because it's technology based, right? It's solar cells, it's lithium ion cells, it's how do you pack more into stuff. The challenge with a coal or a natural gas or an oil is there's no learning. I mean, if anything, the more we use of them, the harder they get out of the earth, so the cost goes up. So batteries, if you look at battery price over the past several weeks, they are dropping like crazy. So they're going to continue to get cheaper and cheaper, along with solar and wind. I think that's, and batteries right now, you're starting to see utilities deploy them more and more, and folks deploy them more and more.
Coal doesn't have a battery either, does it? It's just always there. Or am I understanding that wrong?
Well, the way to think about it is electricity is generated, right? Coal generates it, you kind of burn coal, create a lot of pollution, and it generates energy, right? An output. Solar generates energy, wind generates energy. You can have a battery connected to any of that stuff because you just want to store that sometimes you're getting electricity when you don't need it as much, so you want a battery to store it. But that battery could store an electron is an electron. Doesn't matter where it's come from.
Oh, okay. So batteries could work for coal if that's what they wanted to do too.
Yeah, sure.
Can you talk to my friends back in Wyoming for a second? Because when they hear you say all this stuff, they get very nervous because they're going to lose their jobs and they're going to not be able to provide food for their families if you get rid of gas and oil. Yeah.
Look, transitions are tough, right? Transition of one technology to another is tough. And something called the just transition. The folks that have worked in coal mines and done our oil and gas, we owe them an incredible debt, right, of gratitude, right? It's, that before we knew how damaging they were, right? So, and they're a huge part of generating the wealth and the decrease in poverty in the country and around the world. So we need to take care of them. So we need to provide jobs and training and things like that. But I got to tell you, in coal mines, the amount of people that are deployed in them, the bigger issue has been, the decrease has probably been in the mechanization and the things getting more and more efficient and robots and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's versus the transition. So we need to be really mindful of these transitions. And they're not going to happen overnight. Like we need, we're going to need some coal, we're going to need some natural gas for a long time. But we need to be thoughtful of how we do this and how we do this transition and provide job transitions for these folks.
Yeah, how do you not leave them behind? Because there really is truly nothing else to do in Wyoming but build an oil rig and go find some.
Okay, but I think Wyoming has I'm pretty sure has a pretty decent resource for deep geothermal. So
we do have a lot of geothermal. It's in the Yellowstone area and stuff.
But there's another kind that Yellowstone stuff is closer to the surface.
Oh, okay.
There's another kind that's really deep that you dig down like you're doing fracking, right? And then there's the ability to generate huge amounts of energy from that. So maybe we put a deep geothermal rig there. There are some folks that are trying to say, okay, look, where a coal plant was, let's put a nuclear facility there. Nuclear has its own issues, but that's a possibility. So there are in Minnesota, at a location of a big coal facility, there's a huge solar farm that's gone in instead. So there are things to do. They tend not to be one-to-one or the same kinds of jobs, unless you're talking like from natural gas to a deep geothermal. So there are options, and each situation is going to be case by case, but we need to be working through those options for folks.
Can I ask you a couple questions on behalf of Nebraska State Senator Brian Hardin, who I talked to on the podcast a couple episodes ago?
Oh, hey, Brian.
I wonder, I hope he sees this. Hi, Senator Hardin. How you doing? I'm trying to square this in my head now, because I've always been a big climate change guy, and then I talked to him, and I was like, oh shit, it's all hopeless. He told me the exact opposite of what you just told me. He said that solar panels are as good as they're going to get, and they're not good enough, so we can't do them. And there's also not enough land, period, to generate all the power we need with renewables. He said just not going to happen. We're going to run out.
Yeah.
And you just told me not only there is enough land, but also technology is still getting better.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry, Senator Hardin, he's just wrong. I mean,
why did he tell me? He did not seem like a not smart guy. And I was like, I asked him, I was like, that's not what I've heard at all. And he was like, I've talked to scientists. That's what the scientists tell me.
Yeah, it's just not. I mean, I can follow up with data for you on this stuff, but solar panels continue to get cheaper and cheaper, and will continue to do that. And they, ways of making the things smaller and smaller. They're looking at new materials that can allow more more cells to be packed in one area. So they continue to get better. And again, it's a technology curve. It's kind of like, you hear about how computers have gotten so much faster and faster, right? And you think, oh my God, the thing that's in the palm of our hand now is, what a huge mainframe was, 30 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same kind of learning curve that we're on solar and wind.
He told me that the curve is, we are at what I'll draw. If the curve is like you're curve up, he was like, okay, curve's gonna curve up, and then you're gonna optimize. He's saying we're right here on the curve.
Yeah, not the case. Not
the case here, so you guys can see it.
Yeah.
Not the.
No, I mean solar continues to get.
Why did he tell me that? It's not your problem. You didn't tell me that, but because it was so discouraging when he said that.
I mean, here's the thing, right? You're talking about the future. So, what we're saying is, I'm saying based on where things are at, what kind of research, what I've heard from folks, I'm saying that's going to continue. And if I look at technology in other areas, that's what happens. But we are at a point in time when, what's going to happen a year or 2 years from now, I can't guarantee that. You can't guarantee it. So I guess you can have two folks look at it and see it differently.
Oh, okay.
But I'm right.
Well, okay. Yeah. Stand by it. Right on. All right. Well, can I run another one that I've heard by you that I don't know if it's true or not? I hear some people saying that to the people that say the climate's always been changing, What I say to them is it's never been changing at this rate before.
Yeah.
Then they say, oh, but there has been pockets. If you look at like weather patterns, global weather patterns in all of the millions and millions of years, sure, there's been a couple oddball 100-year spans where it's done wacky shit. And I'm like, oh, I guess I wouldn't know that. But what can you tell me?
Well, yes, the climate's always been changing.
Yes.
I don't think it's ever changed this fast in any period in history.
Yeah,
right?
I'm with you there.
If you look at times over the past, whatever, and you see the ramp of carbon dioxide and warming that's happening now, it's unprecedented.
And how do we know that the change is directly attributed to carbon dioxide and not other stuff?
Well, it's to greenhouse gas emissions, of which carbon dioxide is the main one. Well, like science says that, kind of proves that it is. If, basically what we're doing is we're increasing the carbon dioxide concentration in our atmosphere. And the way it works is sunlight goes through our atmosphere, hits the earth and warms it, and some amount of it is reflected. And then depending on the content of our atmosphere, additional amounts are reflected back. It's called the greenhouse effect. And if we didn't have that greenhouse effect, there would be no humans here. So it's really important that we have that because it warms up the earth enough so that we actually can have humans. But what we're doing is...
You say on the 10-degree day that we have. Okay, but...
it's not that cold here, by the way.
Well, it was freezing outside. My dog almost lost his nose.
But so what we're doing is we're increasing the thickness of the atmosphere. And so more sunlight is bouncing back. And they can measure the carbon dioxide molecules that are up in the atmosphere and see where they're coming from, and that they're from us burning stuff, right? So we can track and we can see. The science says that, clear science says that when you increase the carbon dioxide and you increase the greenhouse effect, it's going to heat up. And it's exactly what's happening. So the models are predicting exactly what's happening.
Are there scientists that disagree with what you just said?
I think, you probably can find some. And you probably could find some now, or in the years ago with tobacco that would say, you know what, tobacco's not that bad for you.
But what you're saying,
if you look at, it's the vast majority. We're talking if folks that actually look at climate and do stuff. A while ago it was 97%. I've seen 99%. So I mean, it is settled science.
And is there such thing as settled science? Because science is just a methodology, right?
Yeah. So fair, but it is understood. It's proven. What's happening matches what
models and all the predictions.
What is said would happen. And it really is just kind of basic. We're increasing the thickness of our atmosphere, the stuff that actually reflects energy back, so that we can live, and we're making it more of it. And it's reflecting more of that energy back.
How do you convince people that don't believe that of that? Because I see it as objective truth.
Yeah, a couple of things.
Have I been brainwashed? Like, have you been brainwashed? Like, how do we confront that?
Yeah. A couple of things. One is not going to convince everyone. Yeah. So,
okay.
And the other
that's a good thing to say out loud. Yeah.
Yeah. Not going to. And I try to find, as this progresses, and it's going to get worse and worse. People will have more firsthand experience with stuff that just is weird, right? With crazy rainstorms that they've never seen before, floods that haven't happened, floods that are happening over and over again, forest fires that are happening so much that we're now having to keep, in Minnesota, we've had some days that have been the worst air quality in the world, right? Because of wildfire smoke coming down from Canada caused by climate change. So there's more and more, and other things like our ice, right? Yes, you can walk on that lake, but not as much as you used to be able to. And that really impacts the economy of folks in greater Minnesota, and especially in northern Minnesota, where they have big ice fishing kind of things. You can ice fish now 2 or 3 weeks less than you could in the past. So as people start feeling these impacts directly, they're kind of like, hey, something's not right.
But how do you get people to open their eyes?
You connect with them on some kind of level of that's emotional to them. All right, something's not right. The boundary, you can't ice fish as much. There's not as many walleye here. And then the nice thing about the solutions that climate change leads us to is they're generally just a better way of living, right? They're generally just creating cleaner air, cleaner water, better economy. So that's the way I try to connect with folks. Like, look, okay, maybe you don't buy the climate stuff, but if we do this, right, it actually, let's say we put some money into hardening homes, so we protect them from weather, right? Maybe your home insurance goes down. Home insurance rates are going up like now crazy, and the insurance companies will tell you it's because of climate change. So if the actions that climate policy would lead us to wind up with huge other benefits. And so I connect with people on those benefits and say, all right, whatever, but you want cleaner water? Or, hey, we can become a real jobs engine here for clean energy stuff. And clean energy stuff, by the way, reduces air pollution. So your kid that has asthma, we're gonna address that over time.
What can you say? I guess this will be the last thing we have time for, but what auxiliary points can you make about ICE being here and the immigration stuff, just like you did with climate change? How do you connect with the people that think they're doing good and the people of your district are heathens and they're just, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what this is causing is even people that are citizens to be scared, that just citizens that don't look white to be scared. And what are they doing when they're scared? They're staying home. They're having to carry around passports and citizenship papers in everyday life.
We haven't done that since the slave catchers.
What is that? Like that, we shouldn't have to do that. And the other thing though that's happening is it's impacting businesses. It's impacting restaurants. It's impacting our economy. And it's making people fearful. Afraid people are not at their best. And so that's what I would say is, it's impacting us in so many ways, and just the humanity of it. Why should anyone that, this view of, if you just comply, then everything's fine, right? Well, no, I mean, they're randomly looking at people, racially profiling, picking people up. That's not, okay, I'm just going to, okay, sure, go take me away for 8 hours and put me in a cell and don't give me food.
That happened to me once at the border. I didn't like it very much.
Yeah, so that's what I would say is, look, this is, even if you think, you're so strong on the immigration and stuff we're doing, there are way better ways of doing this. This is...
What do you think those better ways are? Like, if we want to be part of the solution and give them the framework that everybody would be okay with, what do we do about the illegal immigrants that are here and committing crimes?
Okay, so look at the data of the folks, and there's limited data we can get from ICE because they're not transparent, which is a huge other problem. But what we've seen is that of the people that ICE have arrested, over 70% are not criminals.
I saw that. That's from track.org, which is the Syracuse University.
Yeah, I've seen it in a couple other places too. I've seen data from 74%, 68, 75, but the vast majority are not criminals.
Yes. No, I totally agree with you there.
Yeah. Okay, let's focus on the 25%. The real criminals. Right? Okay, let's talk about that. But
that's what I'm saying. Let's talk about it. Like, what do we do there in a perfect world where? Because I agree, it's like kind of not a academically honest argument to say there's criminals when most of the people you're going after aren't criminals. But in the perfect world where we can get past this, I really hope we can. That 25% will still be here. Well, like, how do we approach that in a way that everybody can...
I think the things that we could agree on, if someone has committed a felony, committed a crime, like, that they should feel the weight of the law on them, right? So I don't think there's, like, I'm not going to say, boy, you've raped someone, you've, committed a burglary, you've murdered someone, that you should be here, right? So, like, I mean, come on, let's focus on those.
Yeah, it seems like if only rational heads could prevail.
Yeah, but this isn't about rational. This isn't about going after the criminals. This is about fear and intimidation. And it feels to me like a political score to settle. A political score to settle.
Yeah, I wish you guys the best. Good luck. I can't imagine this happening in my neighborhood. It'd be so horrible.
I hope it doesn't.
Yeah, I hope so too. Keep fighting the good fight for everybody else.
Thanks.
Is there anything you want to say to the rest of the country from right here in Minneapolis?
And I'm in St. Louis Park.
In St. Louis Park. I'm sorry. It's like the fifth time I've done it.
No, it's okay.
We're St. Louis Park.
We're a suburb of Minneapolis.
I'm looking at Minneapolis.
You're looking at Minneapolis, but we're in St. Louis Park. I mean, I would say stand with us. I mean, this fight that we're in right now, it's not about getting in the way of ICE. It's about making sure that they're being legitimate, that they're not doing things that are just illegal, and documenting what's happening. So support us. I hope this doesn't go anywhere else.
Sweet. Representative Kraft, thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Sure.